You should see my screen now. Last November, I had a chance to once again go to Microsoft. We had a great event for 2016. One of the things that we did this year was that the U.S. delegation purchased these jackets. It was optional. You didn't have to, but every year, like we would notice the Canadian guys would show up with their jackets, and then the Brazilian guys would show up with their jackets. So we said to our MVP coordinator, hey, we'd like to show up with jackets too. So they got us. We brought this nice jacket here. It was really nice, and then we got this scarf from as a gift. Everybody got one of these scarves. Really nice scarf. I thought it was a nice little touch. This year it's a great chance every time we do these, and I always encourage you guys to become MVPs. There's especially women MVPs. We don't have enough women MVPs, and all the organizations, not just Access, but Word, Excel, SharePoint, and so I would love to see more female Access MVPs. But these are some of the guys. Andy here, Andy Tavez from who's Office 365 Day, which I'll be talking about later today. George Hepworth, great group of guys. We have around 4,000 MVPs that come, not just Access. There's only 37 U.S.-based MVPs, but this year we have 4,000. They spread us in different hotels, and they have this really well organized. I mean, they have buses that come pick you up, take you to the Microsoft campus. Just a super organized. That's the best logo I got from Microsoft. The Microsoft campus is open. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but there's no guard, there's no security gate. You can walk in, drive through. You have to have a pass to get into every building. Anywhere you have to have a pass, employee pass, but pretty much it's pretty laid back, really. But one thing you're going to notice in this shot and the next shot is the forest. The Microsoft campus is surrounded by a forest. Every building has some sort of forest next to it. So this is the view outside your window if you're a Microsoft employee. I had a chance to take some shots here. Here's another shot. It was just gorgeous fall week. It was raining the whole week. It almost always is when it comes to Seattle, right? It's always raining. These are the desserts that we got. They treat us really good. Nice, lots of food at the event. There's the event. We had some table games and some electronic games I didn't take a photo of. More desserts. They really love their desserts at these events, so that was pretty neat. I had these crab cakes that were delicious. When you go to Seattle, Seattle's known for its seafood, so like they service a lot of fish during the lunch times, a lot of fish at the evening dinner, and that was pretty neat. This is me trying this new technology. This is a HoloLens, Microsoft HoloLens, and what it is, you use these fingers here to select. And so there's another gesture to bring up the menu. Yeah, let me see if I can show you what that gesture is. I'll see if I can enable the camera so you guys can see me. I don't have any makeup, so please don't be judgmental. So let me show you my camera here. There you go. I'm going to stand up. Let me see if I can turn off this light so you can see better. There you go. So basically, if you took the HoloLens and you went like this, that would bring up the main menu. So this was the gesture. So I'm going like this, right? at the event, evening event. I don't know if people misunderstood that or not, but I was doing that. Anyway, so we were. Well, actually, you didn't see my video, do you? Now you're seeing my video. Okay. So this is what I meant, that you go like this to bring up the menu. And so I was going like this with these virtual HoloLens. And I was using this to select the menu option. And so there was not a big line, but I noticed people were trying these out. So I approached the guy there at MVP who had the lens. They said, hey, can I try it? I said, sure. So you see this wall back here? He said, look at this wall and launch the game so you can play Aliens. I was like, okay. So I go on the wall. The device said, wait a few seconds, synchronizes, scans the wall, and it starts the game. And then what happens is aliens start popping out of this wall. Like they break through the wall. And the brick starts flying everywhere, and the wood starts flying everywhere. And you see aliens creeping out. Then you have to go like this to fire at them, and you have to dodge bullets from them. And it was not bullet, but rays, because of the space game. That was really nice. So I'm playing with this thing. So I'm at, if you don't see what I see, you're thinking, well, look at this guy. He's dodging things. What the hell is happening over there, right? Because you're not seeing what I'm seeing. So I finished playing the game. I handed it back to him and said, oh, by the way, how much did it cost? $3,000. I'm like, I'm not paying $3,000 to blast aliens out of the wall. But I thought it was pretty neat. And that unit contains everything: the computer, the program, everything. So you put on this headset, that's it. That's the computer. That's the environment. I don't believe there's any other component to it. So it's a pretty powerful setup. We had karaoke that night. That was kind of neat. Microsoft logo is on everything, even the coffee cups. And they're really hip on the environment, right? So you have to sort out the stuff in there. I'm not going to show you too many more pictures of this. That's pretty much it. But, it's a really, really great event. Here's a picture of me and Ben. If you ever heard of Ben Clothier, he helps out a lot on the forums. And then here's almost all the Access MVPs. A lot of the greats were here. This is Luke Chong, which I have as a guest the month before last. Remember, Luke was with me in October. Armin Stein from J Street Technology. And this bozo right here. So we had a great time. Always good to have a group shot. God, I got to lose some weight. And we had dinner too as well. So that was a really nice event. But look, when I would go in years past to these MVP events, it was depressing. I'll tell you, I'll be the first one. Like the first time I went, I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to the mothership. I'm going to get my batteries charged up, right? And I'm like, oh, this is going to be great. But the second year and the third year, I've been doing this now for now going on 6 years, right? Straight. It was depressing. Yeah, I was even thinking about not coming back, really. And the reason being, I brought a blog post about this. We would we seated in the room, and then the room over is the Excel guys, and the room over there is the Word guys. They had like all similar office groups together. And you hear applause going out of the Excel guys, and you hear applause going out of the Word guys, and you hear no applause at all coming out of the Access room. Well, this year it was different. This year we were applauding. So I got a lot to share with you guys about what we learned at the MVP Summit. So it was really good. And one of the things that I've noticed is there's been a titanic shift at Microsoft. Ever since that Natalia Nadella was, I'm gonna murder his name, but Natalia Nadella, right, the CEO of Microsoft, when he was hired, it was a titanic shift. There's been a titanic shift in Microsoft. And what I have some insights for you as to how that's been shifting and why, which is interesting. One of the things that Satya Nadella emphasizes is data. You act upon the data that you receive, right? The data that the environment provides you. And I got a great example of that. Several months ago, Microsoft released some wonderful videos on how to use Access, and to me, it caught me by surprise. And it caught a lot of people by surprise. The videos, these were professionally done videos, great videos. And so there was a meeting at Microsoft before they released the videos. There was a meeting at Microsoft. The executive vice president for Office, right, oversees everybody. SharePoint, I think. He was a really high guy, and the room was full of managers at Microsoft. And so one of the things that he noticed was in the agenda is, wait a second, why are we doing videos for Access? Wouldn't we be doing videos for Word or Excel? But Access? Are you kidding me? And so they told him, no. The data shows that more people are interested in Access than any other product. And more than videos for the Excel, more than SharePoint, more than any other product. People want to see about videos. And then that was enough. He said, okay, let's do it. So that's the mentality shift that we've had, right, with the at the Microsoft management there. So they're a data-driven organization. Another aspect is recent developments with Microsoft. We had an event a few weeks before the MVP conference where Apple had this big event. He introduced. The reason I bring up Apple is the reason I bring up Apple. Apple introduced some really some new designs for the MacBook Pros, and they got panned. The technology press let them have it. They're saying, "Oh my gosh, all they did was come up with this little bar across the top of it where the F1 keys are. That's that looks like another screen, right? Touch screen." And they let them have it. They said, "No, this is not innovative." Then Microsoft had their event. Yeah, Microsoft at that event in New York introduced the Microsoft Surface, which is this right here. I got this video here, Microsoft Surface, and the video is super cool. So I'm going to give you a link to this video. You can play it later at your leisure. Don't play it now because it might come through the speakers if you're showing the speakers here. And this event really. This video really captured what you would have thought maybe it was an Apple. You would think this was an Apple commercial. How well done it is, and the technology. Now, I had seen the video before I went to the MVP conference. So at the MVP conference, I went to the local Microsoft store to look in and try this PC, and I was blown away. I mean, this is a huge monitor, it's 28 inches, right? Huge, and it's effortless. You can bend it down here and use it with different angles. I mean, it was just a beautiful piece of software, hardware, excuse me, that invites people to use it. And then I hear about the dial, which is on the video now you're watching on my screen. And the dial is so futuristic. When you place it on the screen, menus come up, relative actions. So the PC, I haven't brought one. I thought about buying one. I said, I'm gonna get one of these. I don't care if I'm not a designer. I ended up buying a Surface Pro 4, but this thing is just a beauty, a sense of beauty. It's great it's very expensive. It's $4,000. That's another reason why I thought about not buying it. And it's mostly designed for graphical people, right? But I think the dial demonstrates how forward-looking Microsoft is in terms of user interfaces. And this all harks back to the movie Minority Report with Tom Cruise, right? Where Tom using his hands to control his environment there. And Steven Spielberg, you may not be aware of this, but Steven Spielberg hired somebody to come up with the language of movement that's used in that movie. So it's not like Tom was playing around with his hands at the time. There wasn't so much choreographed, but it meant something. It actually meant something, and the interface was designed around him. So it was just a wonderful experience for me to grab that dial and put it on the Surface and play with it and be able to do it. Plus the display is super bright. I mean, it's super well defined. It does high K videos. They showed me a video, 4K video from GoPro, which I thought was pretty neat. And it really brought home to me how wonderful it is. I'm actually going to send you a link. If you do have a high-res monitor, this GoPro video I'm going to send you is really nice. HD Hero videos, 1080p. Oh, 4K. I want it to 4K. Here, hold on a second. 4K videos. Now, I don't have a 4K monitor now, but the Microsoft Surface one, this one right here, I mean, this video blew me away. So I'm going to play it a little bit, but it doesn't do it justice over Skype. So if you have a 4K video, or maybe you can project it against your living room TV. That is 4K if those of you who have 4K. I highly encourage you to try it out. Can you guys hear me okay? Can you write in the comments if you can hear me okay? I would imagine you do, otherwise you would have left. So what we have here at Microsoft is an organization that's reinvented itself, right? When Satya Nadella came on board, as you can tell, I'm a big fan of his. When he came on board, one of the immediate things he did was put Office on the iPad, right? Ballmer before him was, Ballmer, if you want to use Office, you got to buy a PC, right? You got to get Windows, but not Nadella. Hey, let's get Office on the iPad. Bam, it happened. You can't get Access on the iPad, unfortunately, but you can get PowerPoint, Word, and everything else. So in that sense, he's not wedded to the PC, right? He's not married to the PC. The other aspect of this is Power BI. Now, if you haven't had a chance to Power BI, you've probably been under a rock somewhere, but Power BI, you go to powerbi.com, and if you have a Office 365 account, you can host your data online
but you can also get it download for free. So you don't need to create these dashboards online. And the reason I'm bringing up Power BI is, number one, it's a new way of seeing data. I've been now selling Power BI for the last 3 months, and I'm convinced that this reporting tool is really groundbreaking. And I knew there was the exports tools out there, but until Power BI came along, I didn't realize the potential for this. And I had a chance to sit into some of the Power BI chats at the MVP conference. You can go to any track you want to. So if you want to go to Word or Excel, you can do that. But yeah, George has been using Power BI. And one of the things that the reason being Power BI is because the Power BI group has their entire soul spelled out on the web. They actually tell you what they're working on, what features are coming out, and it's rapid development. I mean, they're constantly, every week there's a new feature. It seems like every week, every 2 weeks, a new feature. It's like one thing after the other. They're really committed to their user group and collecting data, collecting feedback, and then incorporating that feedback and issuing a new version. And so that kind of mentality of the Power BI group is infectious. And I approached Access Group. Says, look at Power BI. They published their roadmap. There's no mystery. When is the feature coming? There's no mystery at all. Let's take the mystery out of the roadmap. Let's be more open. Let's interface with the users more, right? So there's some things that I want to do in 2017, such as invite members of the Access team to come on to this group at night on Tuesdays, second Tuesday of the month, and be with us. Say, hey, come on down and talk to us about the latest version. You're welcome. So I'm actually going to send out an invite to them, to my contacts in the Access group, and see if they can join us. It's a new era of openness at Microsoft. A new era of embracing a new way of doing things. And so that's why I'm excited, right? There's a lot of new things happening. A lot of great things happening at Microsoft. Heck, my Microsoft stock, I bought it at 35. It's at 62 right now. I'm riding that thing all the way to 400. I'm hoping it goes up to 1800 like Google, right? In which case, I'll probably retire, but we'll get somebody else to do these Tuesdays for you. So if you haven't tried Power BI, you owe it to yourself to check it out, basically. All right. So one of the things that they were hammered to us constantly was that they do read these comments. They do read Access User Voice. And I want to share this link to you. If you haven't done this yet, please do. Because the Access team at Seattle does go through this with a fine-tooth comb. They understand this is a great tool. They put it out there for us. They read the comments. They absolutely love to hear the feedback from people. But not only this, but also comments that you leave and help in MSDN. Like if you read an MSDN article and you leave a comment say this is not relevant or this didn't help me and I wish they talked about this, they read that stuff and they document that and they act upon that. And I remember, and I always leave my name. Well, this is Juan. And they, they tell me, yeah, Juan, we see your comments on that stuff all the time. Thank you very much. Keep it coming. So the fact is that I believe that we already have our first victory coming to Access User Voice, and that was to support the DBF files coming back to Access. And that was a direct result of the Access User Voice. So if you haven't participated in Access User Voice, do so. I left you a link there in the comments there. All right, so now we get to the elephant in the room. And I have to apologize. I don't sound myself because I've had a cold here for several weeks now. And I'm going to talk until my voice gives out. But let me just take a lounge. And again, I'm sorry about this. I just have to take a lounge by her. All right. Let's talk about the big elephant in the room, which is Access Web Apps. If you haven't figured this out already, you probably don't know. Access Web Apps are going away. The new boy in town is Power Apps, which is here. And I'm going to give you this link in the chat. Open your chat in Skype. Now, we don't know when Power Apps are going to stop existing. They're being supported right now. I predict it'll be years before they finally go away. So if you have an Access web app, first of all, don't do any more new ones. You have existing ones. I urge you to consider other things. Microsoft would love you to use Power Apps. And if you haven't heard about Power Apps, I think I mentioned this before, but if you haven't heard about Power Apps, it's basically Access web apps, but turbocharged. Access web apps, but turbocharged. Now, the reason I mean that is because, what was that? I'll have dinner after the meeting. Yeah, you go have dinner. My wife asking me if I'm gonna have dinner. So, where was I? Oh, so you may want to decide to go full .NET, right? Or you may decide, you know what, I'm going to try a different route. I'm not trying Power Apps. But Power Apps is a different genie altogether from web apps. And the reason being is Power Apps has the weight and might of the entire Microsoft organization behind it. And do you want the Power Apps? I was reading some comments there. And the Power Apps is also another, to me, it's like another Power BI. This is version 1.0, recently came out last month. And I see, and they have a tremendous amount of resources. I mean, this is something that was hammered into us at the MVP conference. Power Apps has much more resources than the Access Group ever could get. Much more resources. So this is technology that is going to be here. Will it go away eventually? I don't know, right? You can think they probably said the same thing about InfoPath. InfoPath is here to stay, and look what happened to InfoPath. Now, something that I've noticed a trend at Microsoft is that these apps, not only does Power Apps, but Power BI, is hosted in the cloud. In other words, in the old days, they would sell you a server, or they would give you a server that you install locally at your enterprise, and say, okay, you can run your enterprise for Power Apps for enterprise, right? Here's the server, go at it, right? Like SharePoint. I can install SharePoint at my organization, and it's going to be locally, right? Not this. Power Apps, Power BI for the web, at least where the data is being hosted, it's all being hosted at Microsoft. So, say for example, you have somebody, a customer, UPS customer, right? Like the other day, we submitted a proposal for UPS for Power BI. They said, well, how do we sign up? Well, you go to powerbi.com, you sign up, you get one account, you can publish dashboards. Well, what about the data? Well, that data has to be copied to Microsoft servers, and a lot of companies have a problem with that. So they don't want Microsoft to have their data. But that is the trend at Microsoft. We can host the data for you. We can provide the infrastructure. We can provide you with the resources, but it's got to be on our Azure network, and that's the key, Azure. This company is getting so intertwined with Azure that if you were to pull Azure right now out of them, I think they wouldn't know what to do. Azure is the backbone of Microsoft right now. They use it internally extensively. They use it for their products extensively. And they have customers like me. I have virtual workstations for my developers in Azure, for example, who also use it extensively. So we have, I'm hearing more and more of my clients. They're deallocating their servers. They're moving their servers to Azure. They're creating virtual servers at Azure. I just got a new client out in California. He told me, Juan, I got rid of my server. It's on Azure. And so I said, okay, do you want me to, where do you want to keep your data for this Access application? I want it on my server in Azure. So we're going to install SQL Server Express on a server in Azure. He's not using SQL Server services in Azure, right, the database services, but rather he's using a server in Azure. So now whether that be right or wrong, that's debatable. What history would tell. I love it. I love Azure. I love the fact that I can wrap up resources when I need them. Does it mean I have all my eggs in one basket? in a certain sense, yes. Although you can enforce dual data centers, right? So if you have your data in one data center, you can pay a little bit more, and it'll get copied to another data center. In case the data center itself goes bad, they drop a bomb on that darn thing and it goes away. Although if they drop a bomb on a data center, I think we have bigger problems, right? But the fact is that you're already in the cloud. That keeps. The other day, I got a client tells me, "I don't want to be in the cloud." Says, "Well, could you have some scissors available?" I says, "What?" He tells me, "Why you want scissors, Juan?" I says, "Well, because I'm gonna go in the closet and I'm gonna cut your Comcast business line because you don't want to be in the cloud." Oh, but that's not the same thing. I said, "Of course it is. You got internet on every workstation here. You're already in the cloud. I can pay $35. I can go to a website right now, pay $35, get everything about you, your social security number, who you're married to, what's the name of your dog." Come on, let's wake up, people. You rather host the data locally on a server that's going to be maintained, may have licensing issues, it gets old with time. You know, it's just on and on. It can be stolen with your data in it. It can be a fire, it can be destroyed. You're on the cloud already. So I've made that argument before. You guys heard me before. So Power Apps, you can sign up for free and get started. This is not what you think it is. This is designed for non-programmers, just like Access WebS. There are some great things coming for this. One of the bigger things that's coming for this is the ability to be able to invoke store procedures, which you never could do with Access WebS. Right? Think about it. If I were to create an application that be able to leverage store procedures, I can then do a much more powerful app. And so I can't program on here, but then I can create a store procedure. So there are ways that they're thinking about improving. When they're going to do support store procedures, I don't know, but it's coming. So there is no code, there is no Java calls, not yet, but they're working on it. Just wonderful way. So one of the things that this diagram triggers my memory, one of the things that you're going to be hearing a lot of is the Common Data Service. Raise your hand if you heard of the Common Data Service. Common Data Service used to be called the Common Data Model. Now it's called the Common Data Service. Here's a great explanation of Common Data Services and what they are. And so I'll copy this over also to the chat and Skype so you guys can get that there. All this is this took me a while to figure it out. I think I'm a smart guy. It took me a while to figure it out. So don't despair if it takes you some time too. But basically what this is, how many times have you started an application in Access and you do the same tables over and over again, right? So for example, you're gonna have a customer table, and then the fields are customer ID, customer name, customer address 1, customer address 2, right? I mean, it gets repetitive over the years, right? And then the next app you may need a contact table, contact name, contact phone number. Well, what if you can have that entity framework built for you beforehand and then leverage that so you don't have to start from scratch? And that's what this is. When you create a Power App, you use this so that you don't have to start from scratch. Basically, you can go in there and use these structures and use it with your existing applications. They're not storing your data. This is not Microsoft storing your data. This is Microsoft helping you with the entities in your program. So the Common Data Service used to be called the Common Data Model. So if you're doing, for example, a healthcare app, well, what you're going to need? You're going to need a doctor table. You may need a service table. You may need a coding table. You may need... And so they're thinking about ways where to get you ramped up easier. And so it goes on to explain why use entities, right? It goes on to give you all the different benefits. And something that you hear a lot, metadata. Oh, the metadata. I heard it constantly. The metadata is going to help you with this, help you with that. So in that sense, I'm seeing a transformation. Now, the other thing I noticed also is, like, you may not heard, may or may not heard of this, is Microsoft Flow. Has nothing to do with insurance. That's a joke, people. Microsoft Flow is, if you ever use if this then that, I think it's just more or less the same thing, right? If this action occurs, then do that. So I've used if this and that. For example, I use I do backups in Dropbox on my SQL Server on Azure. I do my own backups to Dropbox. And then when an email from if this and that, when a new Dropbox file shows up, so I know I got backed up last night, right? So I created a recipe for that. So notice I'm logged in here, right? So the same thing with that Microsoft, but now you have a bigger possibilities because now this is tightly intertwined with Microsoft. So I'm gonna give you an example how you can use this because you're probably thinking, what the heck am I gonna use this for? So say for example, you create an order database in Access, right? And the company processes 500 orders a week. And you're working with the order manager, right? There's a department, order department. And sometimes they call them the customer service department. Sometimes they call it something else. And the manager says, you know what? It'd be great if I got an alert when an order of this size comes in, right? It's an unusual size. We may need to ramp up production. We may need to add a second shift or a third shift. We may need to go out and buy materials. So if an order of this magnitude comes in, I want to be alerted. Now, some of us would say, okay, no problem. We'll just send you an email when the order comes out. Well, the problem with email is you got a director of the order department. He's probably getting 1,000 emails a day. He's not interested in another email. The other aspect is, okay, well, if you're running the Access application, we can pop an alert on the Access application maybe, right? But that also has its issues. One of the issues is, of course, that you have to have a timer event on the form. And, I try to stay away from that stuff. It's just more hassle than it doesn't solve many problems for me as much as I like to. So I try to avoid that stuff. So the other aspect of this is, what if you created a Power App that has the order details that pops up when that order manager? So you create some additional code in your AccessUserGroups application, and you put in, you should probably create a table that says if this order comes in, from more than $1 million or more, right? For example, alert, right? Call the alert here. Call the Power App. The Power App then comes up. When you use Flow for that, Flow triggers the Power App, and then a pop comes the Power App, right? So it interrupts the user on the screen with the order details, and here are the order details. It's from this customer name, and it's for this order, and it's due to ship out this day, and whatever other relevant information. So again, you can connect with the service you want, but you can better believe that the Microsoft services are going to have higher priority than Twitter, for example, or Dropbox. Doesn't have as many. I use the IFF, but this is something I'm really excited about, and now I can leverage with applications going forward. So if I do come up with something more tangible than the example I gave you, I'll definitely pass it along to you guys in a future meeting. So it was quite the week for me at Microsoft, seeing all this. And one of the things that I can honestly say is I believe in this new Access team. I know these guys. I know them well. This year I've been at the Microsoft campus many times, and I've met with the team members, with the team leaders, have discussions with them on the future of Access. And I can tell you right now, I couldn't be more proud of this team than any other team in the past. These guys these are seasoned veterans, by the way. These are not kids that, it's a little funny because we do get kids from other departments like Power App Kid, goes sales up. I've been Power App for a month, I'm like, okay, you've been only with the Power App group for a month, and, what are you going to know, right? But anyway, it turned out to be a good presentation. But this group is on top of things. And they do what they can with the limited resources they have. God bless them. But, I expect nothing but great things coming from them going forward. So that was pretty much it, my summary. And this is going to be a short presentation. And so don't have much more to share with you other than the fact that it's been good. Oh, there's one more thing I want to show you. I did a demo at the conference, at the MVP conference. I want to share that demo with you guys. It was not so much a demo, but some screenshots. Yeah, let me see if I can find that here. Let me get it here, and then I can show you what I'm talking about. I should have had this going, but I didn't. But let me just quickly find it. We had a client in Wisconsin hire us to do a WMS, warehouse management system. And when I get calls like that, the first thing I tell them, why? Why do you want to hire me? Just go buy Access. I mean, really? You're going to pay me $50,000 to create a system that you can probably go buy for $1,500 or $2,000 or $5,000? But they already had an Access system in place that they loved. They said, well, we love this Access application, and we know you can make it way much better, and we're not interested in buying anything. I'm like, okay, fine. So this project entailed for us to do a lot of things. This has 3 parts: a SQL server to store the data, there's a tablet application, and then there's a desktop application. One of the things about the tablets, in the old days before Microsoft Surface, it would have been hard for me to recommend a decent Windows tablet. I mean, it was just that bad, right? And so one of the things that that Microsoft Surface done is now I can run Access on a tablet. And so if I come here, our forklift, I want to show you what we use. Tablet mount. So this is what we had, something similar to this that they installed. It had a mount on the forklift. The nice thing about this mount, it actually charges the tablet, so you don't have to worry about running out of juice on it, right? So we installed this tablet. This was an iPad, but we actually use Windows tablets. And one of the things that we did was we wanted to design the app so it was easy to use with the finger, right? Because you didn't want to, you don't want to have them use a mouse, right? So these are big icons, and you can then use that to select things. And then one of the things that you'll see one of these screens is this little icon here for the keyboard, on-screen keyboard. So we rather than them having to go, let me see if I can find you that image with the keyboard. A second here. Rather than them having to go to the online keyboard with the icon, we added the keyboard icon so they can bring it up anywhere in the application and use it. So I thought that was pretty neat. But here we have a nice system that leverages tablet technology in the modern context, and I couldn't be more happier with the design my team came up, the graphical design, right? Because it doesn't look like Access. It looks really nice, and it was a really powerful solution. And they're using this with a fairly large warehouse in Wisconsin, with 3 warehouses in Wisconsin, all in the same vicinity. And I thought that was pretty neat. So I want to share that with you guys. And that's pretty much my presentation for today. Now I'm going to open up for questions, comments, suggestions, or criticisms. You guys are excited for the future of Access like I am? I have to unmute you guys or no? Let me see.
Let me unmute myself. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now, yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I agree with everything you said.
This is George Hepworth, by the way, people. Microsoft Access MVP extraordinaire. Before that was an MVP, this man was a legend. So you do well to listen to him.
People talked about me. Let's put it that way.
When George speaks, you listen.
Oh, Juan, I can't say anything now because I'm going to embarrass myself. But seriously, what Juan said about having come away from this year's summit feeling renewed, rejuvenated, refreshed was especially true. I think for everybody that I talked to on that subject, it's like they have turned 180 degrees in less than a year. From summit to summit. You can't see the progress yet, all that visibly out in the wild, because things like that take time. But internally, and just the way they're working on it is totally different and totally exciting. I hope to be part of it. If I'm not, I'll stand and cheer. And I will say, the other thing I was going to say is that I have used Power BI since at the summit. I saw how it was used and how it works. Came back and tried it myself, and I've got 2 now of my own that I run pretty much every day for my own personal stuff, and it is a very nice tool. Power Apps has baffled me, and I'm trying to figure out how to do that, but I'm not there yet.
Well, it's version 1.0, so I wouldn't use it for any critical business, inline business stuff right now. But I do encourage people to explore it.
Yeah, I think it's crucial if you want to be in the data business in the next few years, say 5 or 6 years. You need to know about Power Apps. I think that's part of. I don't think it's so much as an access tool as a data management tool. And I think that if you don't know how to work with Power Apps, you're going to be falling further and further behind. So I'm going to mute myself again and listen.
All right. Well, I look forward to, George, you're always welcome to come on to one of these meetings. If you do get a significant Power App application you can demo for us, that'd be great. Welcome to us. Thank you very much, George. Anybody else like to have a question, comment, or issue with Access they need help with?
Can you hear me, Juan?
Sure. Can I get your name, please?
Bonnie Hicks.
Bonnie Hicks. Yes, Bonnie. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for putting on the presentation. I've got a couple of questions about the Power Apps. That's a paid-for service, right?
Right now,
you're paying per user?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I haven't signed up for any. There is the pricing. Let me click on the pricing here.
I know it's
yes.
$7 user per month.
Oh yes.
I haven't paid anything yet. It's part of my. It's part of another subscription that I have. I think to go to a more. Oh yeah, there it is, right there on the left.
Okay. So if you already have Office 365, it looks like it's included, right? So if you have that, you don't have to pay.
Well, I have Office 365. I have a low-end business Office 365.
Okay.
But I thought it was. It's hard to understand sometimes the payment plans when they explain them, but I guess I'll have to get into it to see.
Absolutely. And
so the other question about Access. So yes. It sounds like Access web apps are going away.
Correct.
So there's this replacement product, and so everything for Access that they're talking about future and is desktop.
Correct.
So when you say that there's exciting things, what do you mean by that? What other than little improvements that we get in the desktop arena, and maybe I see that they've come out with a few more connection options. What are you excited about?
Well, I get excited very easily because for so many years we didn't get anything. And so I'm excited about the fact that, number one, they've corrected bugs that have been there for a while now. That whole thing with selecting tables in a query design, you have to really move the mouse to get the edge of the table. Oh my gosh, that's been frustrating for me. I have to resolve that. They've done. I
haven't gotten that update yet. I'm still frustrated with it.
Yeah, it's and it's stupid stuff that they should have fixed a long time ago, but they never did. And so now that I've seen that they're taking the effort and doing that now, one of the things that I learned, not this year but last year, is why is it that Office 365 gets updates much faster than the regular Access? Yeah, and that blew me away when I found out. And basically what it is think of Office 365 as a almost like a terminal window into the Microsoft ecosystem. And so they're able to install Office on your PC in a completely different way in a click to run environment. If you want to learn more about this, go to click to run on the web. They install Office completely different way than the old Office setup where they would slog you through a DVD and you have to install it, and you still can do it that way. But when you install Office 365, they're not doing a full-fledged installation. It's almost like they're taking an mirror image of the program and they're dumping it on your hard drive. And so they're not doing too much things with the registry. They're not doing too much things with, they're just dumping something on here. So it's very easy for them to issue fixes and updates on a click-to-run application and be able to propagate that quickly through other Office 365 users. That's the way it was explained to me. It may not be totally correct, but that's why you see these branches. You hear a lot about branches these days at Microsoft. But look, they ask for our feedback. George and everybody else, we let them have it. Says we need this, we need that. I can't tell you exactly what I asked for, but you can imagine, being that I'm a SQL Server with Access guy, you can imagine what I asked for, right? So we need this, we need that, and they're receptive. They're saying yes, yes, yes. They're saying yes to what, but I can't tell you exactly what yes is. I can't tell you yes they're going to go on it, yes they're looking for it because I'm bound on the NDA. I shouldn't have even said they said yes, but they get it, right? That's the thing. Somebody was just about to say something. So I hope that helps, Bonnie. Anything else? You have any other questions for me?
No, I'm anxious to see what's coming down the road too.
Okay, good. I have a thriving practice with Access. I have a 7-figure practice with Access, right? I got 14 employees, now 15 employees. I just hired my first sales guy. And so, I live my life off of this. And one of the reasons I live my life off of Access is there are not that many sharks in the water, right? There's Jarman Stein, there's Luke Chong, there's several of you. Right? George does consulting Access. There's not many of you. If I were a .NET consulting practice, I'd be competing with everybody and their mom, from India through Russia and Ukraine, and I'll be competing with all those people. And there's a lot of work in that space. Don't get me wrong. You still can be very successful, right? But, as an Access guy, I got an edge. All right. Any other questions?
It kept me busy.
I'm sorry, Bonnie. What was that?
I just said, yeah, it's kept me busy too.
Good. And what I'm noticing is a lot of people are retiring. And so I've been approached by several, I can't tell you who, but I've been approached by several consultants, one-man shows. Says, Juan, I'm ready to retire. I just want a garden, and I just want to, spend my days in my garden, and, here they are. Here's my customers. Here's my applications. And just send me a check every month. And I'm more than happy for that, to do that. I get it. I'm a young guy still. I'm only 52, right? Going on 48. And so, yeah, I'm more than happy to do that. So, look.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. If you really do want to give me thanks, follow me on Twitter and reply back, Juan, great presentation last night, or terrible presentation, whatever you like to say. Go ahead and join me on my LinkedIn groups, Access with SQL Server. You can't miss it. And go back to the LinkedIn group. If you want to thank me, leave some sort of feedback, either bad or good. Also, you can leave feedback on Twitter. And my handle is jsoto22. And also our Facebook page at accessexperts.com. You can leave feedback there. We do this out of labor of love, and we're in the season of love. Christmas is just around the corner, so I want to wish every one of you guys a great Christmas. I know it's going to be a white Christmas because of global warming. And also great New Year's. I'll be partying the heck out of it, New Year's, because I work hard, but I do play hard. So I will be partying my ass off for New Year's. Usually now my latest thing is DJing. All right, because I like to play music during these things, but today I didn't play any. And we'll be back in January. So everybody have a great one Christmas, New Year's, and we'll see you in January.